Hello guys, and welcome back to a new video. Today I'm going to talk you through the process of how I paint my Sons of Horus. This should be the result, but I changed up some of the painting since I did this one, so these are gonna look a bit different. Alright, getting straight into it, you're gonna go ahead and grab yourself any black primer. Seriously, doesn't really matter what black primer, and you give all of the models a good coat of black primer. See you when that's done. So now that the black primer is dried and nicely applied, you're gonna take some Citadel in QB Darkness. I've already put it in my airbrush, and you just want to give the model an overall nice coat of this stuff, just everywhere. Slap it on. Yeah, just an overall coat. So once again, now that these are dry, we're going to continue to apply the base color of Sons of Horus green with the airbrush. The only thing that differs now is you have like the bog standard normal marine, and he is gonna get a different treatment than, let's say, your sergeant. On the sergeant, focus. On the sergeant, you're gonna want to apply the Sons of Horus green only on raised areas and like with a very specific highlight. So I would go in and just select all the spots manually. On the other ones, I'm just gonna do a highlight from the top like this. Okay, so that's what I'm gonna do on a normal guy, and on the sergeant and somebody like with a Vox that is a bit of a fancier model, I'm gonna manually select So yeah, that's what I would do on a sergeant, and like on a model that would be looked at more often. So after that is done, your models should look somewhat like this. Very, very nice, very, very clean. Now we get to one of the more tedious stages with it, which is the silver. So I'm just using lead belcher. I think that's a very common paint, and you're gonna pick some brush like this. I like doing this with long brushes. You can do this with any kind of brush you want, and you know, I mean, everybody knows where, like, how to paint the silver parts. You just pick them out. Oh, that's too much water. And yeah, there's not much magic to it. The only thing you have to worry about when doing the silver is which parts to do in silver and which not to. So I usually do on the backpack the little exhausts. Wait, I can give you a better close-up. I'm always doing the exhausts, then these little thingamabobs on the front. You don't have to be super needy here, but like spilling is a bit annoying. Sometimes you can leave it, sometimes you have to clean it up. Then I do the little, I don't know what this is. Now on the bolter I paint everything except for this part, because that's going to be black. Like the housing of the bolter, that's going to be black. Let me quickly look around. These bolts, don't paint them. The grenades, of course, they need some silver. And then like the vents here and these things. This you can paint silver, I don't know, just how you like it better. Oh, and of course the little pistol. Yeah, but that should be every part that you need to do in silver. Yeah, so I'm gonna see you after I did that. Oh, another quick thing about the silver is this little space. Oh, wow, you can't see that. This little space behind here, the backpack, and it looks cool if there's some silver in there, but like neatly painting that is gonna take you hours on tamarines. So I just take my brush and go like this. See, I even slipped there massively. Can wipe that away with my finger maybe, but because we're gonna do some silver battle damage later, that's not gonna be a big problem. So yeah, just smush that in there, and every little crevice that you don't get in with your brush is gonna later be fixed by the wash we're gonna throw over it. So you don't have to worry that there's like green showing through in a silver area where you don't want green to show through. Yeah, exactly. So now that I'm finished with all the silver parts, I'm gonna give you a quick 360 of one of the finished models just for you to look at it, and if there are any parts that I didn't talk about but that I did paint silver, you could now have taken a closer look at them. Now we're going to continue with the black. I sadly only have my black primer, which is way too watery for the task, but I have to use it because all of my other blacks are empty. And we're gonna go ahead and just paint the casing, or like the casing, you can call it the casing of the gun, because I like when they're black. And we're gonna do that on every guy. Now another thing where you could use the black paint is the shoulder pads. So on these guys who have the studded shoulder pads, hey, focus. You can see this shoulder pad got a black coat, and this is in the Sons of Horus green. So yeah, maybe you could do this one black. I don't know yet, I'm gonna think about that, but that's basically your choice, how you like it better. Alright, now all the black is done, and this is what it's gonna roughly look like when it's dried, or mostly dried. Yeah, and the next step is going to be some lovely bright bronze, this color from Game Color, over all the gold detail. And I really love this paint. This is honestly, I use this for every gold. Oh, the angle is pretty shit. Like that, yeah, that's better. I use this on everything I come across. Yeah, like this is my absolute favorite gold paint, and we're gonna just apply that to everything. The trim of the shoulder pads, the like all the gold details, like his nice crest on the top here, the other shoulder pad trim. But you can see I'm not like super careful with this, because after all I'm painting a batch of minis, and if I were to be super careful on everything, I would get nowhere. So I'm just slapping that paint on there. Yeah. I really like these MK3 Mark III Sons of Horus shoulder pads. I think they're from Fortran. I bought this all secondhand, so I don't really know where they're from, but they're not on the Fortran web store anymore, which is very sad. Okay, now we come to the top bit here, and I don't yet know how I'm gonna paint it. Maybe like a sun, like the typical Sons of Horus eye, because in the middle there is a wolf. It's from Ulrich the Slayer, which I did a conversion with, and this part was left over, and I thought, well, maybe some Sons of Horus still wear a bit of Luna Wolf's heraldry. I'm just gonna make this whole thing gold now that I fucked up. Like this. Very nice. On the back here, maybe on these two little knobs. Oh, and another important thing, all the little bolts in the legs also. I also paint them gold. The little tassels on this thing. How do you call this? Whoops, how do you call this? I never know. Is it a dick tassel? Some call it like that. I don't know. The thing between his legs. And yeah, finished. And this I do on all of them. So, now that we're finished with the gold, by the way, I'm sorry that the light changed, but I had to do some stuff and now it's in the evening. Yeah, now that I have applied all the gold, we'll basically go on to the smaller details. So that's gonna be some bits that are red. I'm gonna do a flash towers red, like the thing on his head or his cape and his dick thingy. Then yeah, all the head buns. I think for the brown, I will use contrast wildwood or wildwood. Yeah, so basically all the leather parts, all the pouches are gonna get a coating of wildwood, and the red parts are gonna get a coating of flesh towers red. Now there's another thing I do with the wildwood, which is I thin it down a bit with my contrast medium, but honestly, what the fuck, do it with water. Seriously, it doesn't matter. It only gives you like a 30% better wash or consistency for the job, and I mean, if you have it, then it's good, then use it, and if not, don't worry about it too much. Yeah, and with a bit of thinned down wildwood, I go over the gold bits, and that gives them really nice, like kind of darker, but still gold, but not that gold look. Yeah, you're gonna see it. So yeah, I'm just gonna apply this over the blue. We don't care, because maybe we're gonna do a highlight of another color, or yeah, I most of the times I do one pass with a lighter color over the red, and that covers up all the edges that stayed a bit too blue. So yeah, just cover all of this nicely. Yeah, the Flesh Terrace red is another one of these paints that I use them for everything. Just like with the bronze, they're just glow effects on eyes, just lighten it up a bit and it's perfect. Yeah, but in every army I have, I think this paint appears. You have to be a bit careful from now on that you don't like have fuck ups like this, but so what. But yeah, I think I'm gonna later do a little freehand or a little gold trim on this cape because it looks a bit too flat, one could say. But but that's basically it for the red. And this, if my focus would show to you, this is how it looks with the wildwood, wildwood, whatever, on the gold parts. Now I'm gonna just have to do that on everybody. And a little advice on doing like the small rims, you have to be a bit careful. But if you have just some slight spillage, you get a really nice panel lining in there, which can get you a long way. Although we're going to add an oil wash later, that's gonna kind of do the same. We are gonna apply a relatively light oil wash, and so these details we're adding right now will still show through. Yeah, and this is a bit of a tedious step, especially with models with a lot of trim. But like on these parts, you can be a bit more rough, you know. Spillage can also always be shadows or stuff like that. So yeah, never be too needy. Except of course you want it, and you don't want to paint it quick. You want to give it a bit more time. Then this is definitely a step you can be a little bit more careful. Oh, that was not in focus at all, was it? Well, shit. Yeah, I'm gonna do that to everybody. And now while these coats of paint are drying, I think I'm gonna get something to eat. Alright, I've eaten something. I'm no longer hungry. That's very important. If you set up like hour-long paint sessions, I sometimes forget to eat. And then I feel shit and I can't paint anymore. So, always eat enough and drink enough. However, now we're going to continue with the paint scheme. And now the steps start to come in where the model starts looking like really good. So yeah, I'm gonna first use some nylon oil. This is the most classic part, but I'm gonna just use some nylon oil on all the silver bits of it. Yeah, everybody has done this, except this is your first model you're painting. Everybody knows how to apply nylon oil to the silver parts of the model. I don't have to talk anymore about this step, seriously. Alright, now these are all factory new, clean little space marines. They've just come out of training. But that's not how I have my Sons of Horus. My Sons of Horus has seen some battle, has seen some fights, and so we're gonna take our trusty sponge and a bit of Rhinox hide and go absolutely ham on their armor. Now this step is a bit difficult because you have to take care that you don't overdo it with the battle damage. But after some time you really get the hang of it and it starts getting easy. Don't worry, this is not the only coat of battle damage they're gonna get. This is just like a base which we're gonna build up the battle damage onto this base. But yeah, exactly. And this I'm gonna do to all of them. Alright, now that they've all been nicely sponged up, this literally took less than 5 minutes. I am going to take a very bright silver. This is a Model Air, just like, it's called chrome, not silver, chrome. I don't know if they still make this paint. This is like very old. I got it from my neighbor. But you should be able to find any really bright silver. Maybe even a tiny bit less bright silver would be better for this. But this is what I have at hand, and yeah, can always be perfect. So we are going to continue with the same technique. So just take a bit of silver on your sponge and then apply it in all the areas where you applied the Rhinox hide before. Okay, this is way too much. I should have actually shaken the silver. I think that would have made things easier. But now you see, we add it to everywhere where there's brown. this is gonna add some nice surface detail that yeah, makes the model more interesting. There we go. Now this is really starting to come together and to look like something. The next step, after we know that the silver, I'm gonna get you another close up on how my models are looking right now. Now comes a step that I'm not 100% sure about. Now I always think like, is it worth it? Is it not worth it? Oh, that was my knee against the table, so I'm just gonna show it to you. It involves a little bit of a different medium, which is oil paints. Yes, a much dreaded topic, for a good reason, because I just like oil paints are so weird to work with, but they sometimes can do a really nice job at specific things. And one of these things is what I'm going to do now. So the technique that I'm talking about all the time is, I don't know if it even has a name, to be honest. How I do it is I pick this brush. It's really fucked up, but it has a tiny tip, and I take me a bit of like some black, some dirty colors, and I do little spots on these models, just like in random places. This is gonna really get the grime up. And here this is, if you do a bit more, a bit less, it doesn't really matter. So first I do the black spots on all of these models. And after then I come in with a brown. I'm just gonna skip ahead until I have applied this to every model. Maybe I'm gonna still have this one on video, because like this is a technique that I don't often see used. So here's another example of where I place these dots. It's very random. I'm also not a pro at this technique. Like I'm only been doing it for 2 or 3 months, but it really brought me some great results. So yeah, you can wait and see how this turns out. Alright, all the black, fucking hell, all the black dots finished, just the brown dots to go. Alright, all the brown dots applied as well, and now we get to the magic. We take out some odorless enamel thinner. There's nearly nothing left in this bottle. Oh, I think there's actually nothing left in this bottle. Shit. It's gonna be enough. It's gonna be enough. And then I take a brush that has very many hairs, and it's like just a nice big brush. I dab it in there, try to get some of it on. Oh yeah, feels like there's still something in there. And then we take our model, hey, focus, and we just start rubbing, and we smear all of these spots that we just took, smear them into streaks, and this really changes up the tone of the armor in many places. The only thing you have to be careful about is that the brush doesn't get too dark, because otherwise you can quickly just darken the model completely, and we wouldn't want that, because like the models still have to pop a bit, even though they are. I'm gonna make it a close-up. Wait a second. There you go. Because even though the models are grim dark, you still have to be able to see some detail. Focus, come on, very good. You see, I just wipe it like that, and boom, there's some nice streaks. Okay, that got dark pretty quick. Bam. And the brown that I am using It's called Ombre Nature. Has a little bit of a green hue to it, which gives some really nice color variations when you hit the Sons of Horus green with that. Oh, that felt it. I fucking broke it off. Well, yeah, I just broke off the antenna. Very professional. Alright, got all of that finished, and this is actually starting to come together now. One thing that this is a piece of Horus's scenic base that I never got around to paint. It's since been just sitting there. Okay, I just figured out that I forgot to paint all the parts between the armor plates, like the arms and stuff like that. So I'm just gonna quickly do that with black, just a basic black. Just get it done with. It's not important. So now, after all the black in the recesses is finished, I have continued on to paint the eyes, which is really difficult. I would say like this is the only step in this process that requires a lot of skill, patience, and yeah, it takes a lot of time. But this is not like the final absolute color. They're not gonna have white eyes. I'm gonna go over there with, you guessed it, Flash Terrace Red to give it a nice glow. So this is just the base, so it doesn't have to be 100% neat. But yeah. Okay, now we come to the next step, which is a bit of a weird painting technique. You just slap your red on there and then kind of dab it off a little. This kind of recreates. You can also do it with, oh wow, luckily there isn't much in there. Kind of also can recreate that with a brush, and you just get really nice glowing eyes. I love this effect, and it's kind of like with an airbrush, but you don't have to use the airbrush for it. Oops, you can see nothing. I'm very sorry. Like that. And yeah, just continue that like always with everybody. Alright, it is the next morning. We have a light switch again. I'm sorry, but that's just the way it is. And we're gonna go on to the last step, because now these models look quite... I just painted the bases black because everybody is gonna have a different base. You can base this scheme however you want. There's not one particular basing like style that is perfect for them. Now the last thing is using the neutral brown from Panel Line Wash from Amamic. Just get that open. And I'm going to use my dirty little, oh that sounded weird, like the small, quite fucked up brush that I also used for the oil paints. Just gonna get some of this paint on there. Now this step works better when you first put a gloss varnish on the model, but since I'm lazy, I'm not gonna do that. Yeah, because then the oil wash can really pull into all these recesses. Alright, so yeah, and you just want to hit areas where grime would collect. Okay, that was a bit much. Just wipe it away with your finger. Like on the backpack, because the backpacks are a bit bland at the moment. And you just, oh, that nearly tipped over there. That wouldn't have been good. And you just, yeah, place it wherever you want. I'm gonna just keep this running as a little example. Wait, I can do a better close-up of it. Yeah, as a little example where I always put it. Yeah, like this. This is just the finishing touches. Some on the head there, a little bit in between here, maybe something there, and bam! That is this guy pretty much done. I think he looks fabulous. Very nice grimdark scheme without losing the blue. I'm gonna quickly do this to all of the guys and then yeah, do like a small resume. Alright, there we are, finished. Yeah, so this is the final result, and overall I think this paint scheme is quite a good compromise of quick, but it still looks pretty decent. You know, there are some techniques in there that just quickly get the model looking very interesting, especially the chipping combined with like the oil spot technique. I think does a lot for a model, because the oil brings out like a bit of color variation in there, and that's just yeah, that really brings these models to life. Now there are some little parts like his banner, which I didn't paint yet. Yeah, I'm always lazy with these things, or like his thing on top here. You can basically paint them however you like. I would throw just a white paint on there and then a wash or something like that. But yeah, here you go. That's your finished product. I hope I could help. And yeah, if you like this video, please leave a like, maybe even leave a comment. That would mean a lot to me. Yeah, I hope, yeah, this was a nice tutorial.